Alright, show and tell time for you 964 carerra4 owners. When people are talking about their planetary gear failure, here's what they're talking about. This one hasn't failed yet, but I've got my transmission out for a clutch, doing a little reseal, and found a broken transmission mount bolting spot basically, so I'm going to have to do a bunch of welding on this. But here's one that hasn't failed yet, but I'll give you a good idea of basically what fails and how. So these little planetary gears here, you can see they're just spinning on this shaft freely, and that the shaft doesn't move. But if I spin it faster here, you can actually see it move, the shaft that it's on. So these things are just kind of floating in this housing, and really the only thing holding them in are these little peen marks that the factory put. And if you look closely, they're not all that accurate. I would say this right here is probably the best one. All three pins are close to the edge, but they leave a nice thick, kind of chunk of metal around the edge of the pin. And you can see the metal is folded in, and it holds the pin in place pretty well. But even with that being said, watch this. So as you can see, they have quite a bit of up and down movement, and they can spin around. So what happens is, when you get a couple of really inaccurate peen marks, I think the back's worse. Let's see here. I would say that's definitely the worst one. That one right there is too close. The metal is almost fractured, so it's really weak. And then these two are super far away and don't even really mushroom the metal in. So I imagine this one probably has a lot of play. Let's see, yeah. Well, I had to push it back down, but it does, in fact, have quite a bit of play. So apparently the quick fix is to place little spot welds and weld the pin to the carrier. And I don't think these were ever meant to be serviceable anyways. So, once this wears out, you're replacing it. Once it breaks, you're replacing it. So welding these in place, I don't think is going to be an issue. The only thing is, from what I hear, they recommend you only do spot welds. You don't want to completely weld this in, because then there's no way for oil really to get in between the shaft and the gear to lubricate everything. So you kind of want to leave a natural path for everything to seep in there and lubricate. So I'm going to get this in the parts washer and clean it up. We'll do some welding and pop it back in.